there's a huge separation over time of our relationship to food based on the manner in which we've grown it and how society has evolved generally, to where you're at a place where you're like, I want my food to be sacred and one with all and full of nutrients and raised in the most holy way. Okay, well, over time, like there was a time where we didn't think that, but it just kind of was that, like nomadic humans, pre-civilization, there was a time when we were just not that different from the trees and the other animals. We were completely immersed in the experience of this evolving universe. And as the seasons were flowing and the animals were migrating and we were following them and we were harvesting and grazing on this and that and foraging, we were just one with that entire flow. But then at a certain point, we said, no, like actually, this is a pretty good place to plant an apple tree. And let's just come back. This meadow is epic. The animals love it here. Let's just come back here every spring and we'll have apples and the animals will be happy. And then next time it's like, let's plant a fig tree there. Okay, this is how farming started. So now we have campsites along our nomadic path where we've settled and we have invested in things and we're tending to them over time, but not too much involvement. Basically we just planted the tree and it's now growing itself. Eventually over time, and groups of civilizations who kind of evolve ways to farm a little bit more intentionally, usually a grain. And so they'll find some way to plant a whole field to a specific crop. And now they're making bread all year long. And this is a game changer. So now this is my field. We're fencing it off. It's not your field. It's my field. It used to be we've harvested a deer and now we all have to share it because we're a community. It's the only way it survives. Now it's like, this is my farm. That's your farm. I'm going to hire those people. You hire your own people. I'm going to store it in my silo. I'm going to tax you and give you this, seasonally to make sure we all have enough. And it goes on and on and on to the point where, by the time this land had been fully colonized and, no longer practicing indigenous ways at all, we were soon enough mechanized, soon enough industrialized. And this thought process of separating further and further away from like, this is a sacred unity to this is a commodity. This is a commodity. We can extract whatever we need to feed a growing population, regardless of the damage it does to the land, because there's endless amounts of land. Like we just go, move on to the next area. We just spread out. We make bigger farms. We make better machines. By the time, the 1800s come around, they're already talking about how we should just come up with inorganic ways to produce these materials, because as far as a plant's concerned, there's no difference between organic and inorganic materials. And so by the time World War I rolls around and they develop synthetic nitrogen for TNT, dynamite, bombs, stuff like that, well, we now have the thing they've been looking for this for 100 years. So we didn't even think about it. We just said synthetic nitrogen, that's it. And this is where chemical fertilizers, really start to exist, is from these wartime developments around synthetic nitrogen for bombs, basically.
Jared, I think that's really important to maybe repeat and emphasize for people that they don't understand that pesticides and the like you said, are from war byproducts of chemicals that were used for weapons that they wanted to dispose of. Same thing for soy, by the way. It was a byproduct that they didn't know what to do with it, so they figured out how to monetize it, and that's what makes up pesticides.
Yeah, so you're exactly right, except I just want to clarify one thing, which is that the pesticides would be, so originally the first real kind of breakthrough that poured gasoline on the idea of, like, we already had mechanized agriculture at this point. We just didn't have chemical industrial agriculture, but mechanized ag, start like 1803 or 18 whatever, cotton is king. 1830s, cotton is king was the common saying in agriculture. And so what they mean by that is that, when you used to grow tomatoes and spinach and various things to feed your family, and you'd give the extra to your neighbors, and you'd sell, your pies to this guy, and he'd fix your horse's hoofs or whatever the deal was. Now we have trains and cities, and so we're growing large amounts of food and shipping it to someone on the other side of the country, likely to some sort of like co-op that is a middleman, so we're not even getting the best price. And basically there's multiple people in between us and the people who are eating the food. We have no relationship with them at all. We don't even care about them. And so we have mechanized ag at this point. By the time we get to World War I and they develop synthetic nitrogen, now we have chemical ag, and then that just continues to expand. So by the time we get to World War II, the insecticides, I want to say it's called Zyklon B, the insecticides that they developed for the Nazi gas chambers are by Bayer, like the grandfathers of Bayer and I'm forgetting the other company's name. They developed these companies, and basically I think in the Nuremberg trials we're kind of like, we just thought, like, of course they wanted insecticides. These were crowded army barracks. Like, we have to keep sanitation clean. But they were pretending to turn a blind eye to the idea that like the volume of insecticide they were going through could only be explained by the fact that they were murdering people with it. So those chemicals just, whether they're from World War I, World War II, or even DDT, which is famous around the time of Vietnam, these chemicals have their military applications, and then they just get whatever, once we have factories and methods for producing this stuff, it's like, how to make the most out of it financially, basically, it becomes a self-driven thing.
There's so much there, Jared, and I'm just so grateful that you are on the show. I mean, you're obviously a wealth of information, and this is so critically important for everybody, not only my audience, but the world. And I really hope people share this episode in your knowledge.